A silence hung in the room, not of peace, but of a mother's final decision, heavy enough to shatter three small worlds. As dawn crept over Dallas, Serena Hayes closed the bedroom door behind her, already tasting the freedom that would cost her everything. For Serena Hayes, March 12, 2021 wasn't an ending. It was a liberation. A meticulous design, years in the making, now ready to unfold. She wasn't fleeing chaos, she was fleeing connection. Serena moved through the Dallas apartment with practiced ease, each motion precise. Her small travel bag, already packed, sat by the front door. The scent of stale cereal and untouched toys permeated the air, but she registered it only as a fading presence. In the children's room, a sliver of morning light touched Owen's dark hair, then Ruby's, then the soft, curled hand of Finn. 3 sleeping figures, 3 anchors she was about to sever. There was no tremor in her hand, no catch in her throat, only a quiet, resolute satisfaction. Serena's life had always been a series of escapes. Growing up in what appeared to be a perfect, affluent suburban home in Rochester, New York, she cultivated an image of effortless charm. Beneath the surface, a deep-seated craving for admiration festered, intertwined with an intense aversion to any lasting obligation. Her first child, a daughter named Lily, born from a fleeting connection with Victor Price, was quickly passed to her parents, framed as a temporary arrangement, while Serena found herself. Relationships came and went, each man a temporary stepping stone, a distraction from a responsibility she never truly accepted. Children, she learned, were inconvenient truths. Then came Leo Maxwell, a tech entrepreneur based in Frisco with a sharp mind and an even sharper preference. No children. Leo offered the glittering, unburdened future Serena had always craved. He saw her as an independent, sophisticated woman, unencumbered by the past. He never asked about her previous life, and Serena never offered. He was the perfect blank slate, the key to her final, ultimate escape. She'd spent months on the details. Automated bill payments for the apartment, ensuring a roof remained over their heads. Scheduled weekly food deliveries, shelf-stable staples, enough to sustain, never to nourish. She'd even drafted fake homeschooling records, meticulously designed to bypass any official inquiry from the local school district. The system, she knew, could be managed, controlled, all from a distance, a perfect separation. Serena glanced one last time at the closed bedroom door, then turned, her movements fluid. As she locked the apartment door from the outside, the soft click echoed the finality of her decision. Finn's sleepy call, a faint "Mama" from inside barely registered. A fleeting thought of obligation, quickly dismissed. Her future with Leo beckoned. She slipped behind the wheel of her car, pulled away from the curb, and left the apartment, and her past behind. What would greet Owen, Ruby, and Finn the moment they truly woke? And for how long could this carefully constructed charade truly last? The apartment door closed. For Serena, it signified escape. For Owen, Ruby, and Finn, it was the sound of the world shrinking around them. Their mother was gone, and the silence that followed would become their new normal. Owen woke first, a heavy stillness in the Dallas apartment. Ruby and Finn still slept, but the usual sounds of their mother's morning routine, the soft clatter of breakfast dishes, the hum of the coffee maker, were absent. A cold dread settled in his stomach. He found the folded note on the kitchen counter, its edges crisp against his fingers. He read it aloud, his voice flat, to his still sleepy siblings. "Mama's gone for a little while. Be good. Food will come." Confusion clouded their faces, then a slow, dawning comprehension. Mama was gone. Their first Tuesday delivery arrived. Boxes of instant noodles, canned vegetables, shelf-stable milk. Owen, at 12, felt the immediate burden of their survival. He watched the delivery driver leave, a stranger who never looked inside. This became their new rhythm, a weekly drop-off of meager provisions. Every Tuesday, a brief, impersonal transaction, a reminder that they were seen only as a delivery address, not as 3 children. They learned quickly. Owen rationed the food, stretching each meal. Ruby, equally young, tried to soothe a crying Finn, her own fear a constant companion. They navigated their existence alone. No school, no playdates, no outside world beyond the window, just the four walls of their apartment. Weeks bled into months. Their clothes became stained, too small, their hair matted, their skin showed the clear marks of neglect, cuts, rashes growing thin. The apartment began to reflect their decline. The single bathroom overflowed. A persistent sour smell clung to everything. Bugs, drawn by discarded food, became regular inhabitants. The psychological toll was heavier. Owen, once a vibrant boy, grew quiet, withdrawn, his eyes haunted. Ruby retreated into herself, speaking less, her once bright spirit dimming. Finn, barely 9, regressed profoundly. He constantly sucked his thumb, wet himself without protest, and his cries became soft, constant whimpers, barely audible. They were losing not just their physical health, but their very selves. Hope, like a forgotten toy, lay broken in a corner, gathering dust. Months turned into a year, then another. One afternoon, Owen stood by the living room window, staring blankly at the sprawling city below. He turned to his siblings, his voice hollow. "She's not coming back, is she?" The question hung in the stale air, unanswered, because they all knew the truth. The apartment became their solitary world, a silent, living tomb. The children within, barely shadows of their former selves. Would anyone ever notice the three figures fading within those walls? And could they truly survive this deliberate, prolonged absence? While Serena Hayes built her new life, three children withered behind a locked door. But the world, often deaf to the quiet cries, was about to find new ears. Ears belonging to a woman simply trying to live her own life. Isabella Rodriguez had recently moved into apartment 201, right next door to the Hayes family's unit. As a single mother herself, sleepless nights were common, but something beyond her own baby's cries began to disturb her. From apartment 202, strange, non-human sounds would drift through the shared wall. Not voices, no television, just shuffling, dragging, a scraping noise. She dismissed it at first, attributing it to buildings settling, or perhaps rodents. But the sounds persisted, and Isabella, with a mother's keen sense for what felt wrong, began to notice the absence. No lights from apartment 202 during the day, no comings or goings, no school bags by the door. She knew the Hayes children lived there, or at least they were supposed to. A casual question to a neighbor in the hallway yielded a chilling, throwaway comment. "Oh, the Hayes kids? Haven't seen them in ages." The word ages resonated in Isabella's mind, cold and heavy. The unease solidified into dread. One particularly quiet night, a distinct sound sliced through the stillness. A child's muffled sob, deep and heart-wrenching. It wasn't the passing cry of a baby. It was the raw, desperate wail of an older child, pure despair. Isabella felt a wave of icy horror. This wasn't rodents. This wasn't imagination. Her hands shaking, Isabella dialed 911. Her voice was thin, strained, as she recounted vague details of disturbing sounds, of children she hadn't seen, of a building silence that spoke volumes. The dispatcher, accustomed to late-night calls, promised to send someone. Officer Alex Miller and Officer Sophia Chen arrived. Their faces held the practiced neutrality of responding to a non-specific complaint. They approached apartment 202. Miller knocked. Silence. He knocked again, harder. A faint, terrified voice from within, barely audible, croaked, "Go away!" Miller exchanged a glance with Chen. "Hey, it's the police. Is everything all right in there? How old are you?" After a tense beat, the voice replied, thin and hoarse. "I'm 14. 14. The officers exchanged a look of immediate concern. A child of 14, alone, telling them to leave? Miller and Chen braced themselves, their hands instinctively moving to their sidearms, utterly unprepared for the sight about to greet them. The apartment's darkness began to yield to the hallway light, hinting at a horror beyond comprehension. What unspeakable scene lay behind that slowly opening door? And what unspeakable truth would it reveal about the lives within? The door swung open. A child's desperate plea for solitude had become a gateway to a hidden nightmare. The city was about to awaken to a truth far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. Officer Alex Miller reeled back, a strangled gasp escaping him. Before them stood Owen, a ghostly figure. His skin stretched tight over bone, eyes wide and dull, his hair matted and long, obscuring much of his face. His fingers were elongated, almost claw-like. Behind him, clinging to the shadows, were Ruby and Finn, skeletal, their faces streaked with grime, their expressions feral. They made no sound, only cowered, like animals caught in a trap. The stench hit them first, a suffocating wave of decay, human waste, and stale, rotting food. It clung to the air, seeped from the very walls, a physical manifestation of the neglect within. Officer Sophia Chen, fighting nausea, immediately called for backup. Within minutes, the quiet hallway outside apartment 202 erupted. Paramedics, Child Protective Services, additional police units swarmed the scene, their faces hardening as they processed the unspeakable conditions. The apartment, once a hidden cage, was now a vortex of activity, overwhelming the traumatized children. Detective Maya Patel arrived, her face grim. She took in the chaos, the medical teams carefully approaching the children, the sheer squalor. Her priority was immediate: find the mother responsible. The initial check of the apartment yielded the first crucial piece of information: a bank statement showing automated rent payments drawn from a joint account shared by Serena Hayes and a man named Leo Maxwell. A quick search confirmed Leo Maxwell's identity: a highly successful tech entrepreneur living in a sprawling, meticulously maintained estate in Frisco. Patel's team quickly tracked Serena there. The contrast was immediate, jarring. Serena, polished and poised, dressed in expensive clothes, her perfect manicure glinting as she sipped a drink by Leo's poolside. Her social media, instantly accessible, displayed a vibrant life of luxury: exotic getaways, gourmet meals, high-end shopping sprees. This opulent existence stood in stark, sickening opposition to the $20 weekly grocery deliveries that had been the sole lifeline for her starving children for 3 years. Patel confronted Serena, her voice calm, cutting through the pleasant afternoon chatter. Serena's practiced smile faltered as she saw the badge, then the grim set of Patel's jaw. "Serena Hayes, we need to speak with you." Serena's initial reaction was a practiced blankness. "Children? I don't know what you're talking about." But as the handcuffs clicked shut around her wrists, the facade cracked. A high, desperate wail tore from her throat, not of maternal anguish, but of pure, self-centered rage. "I paid the rent. I sent food. I didn't abandon them," she shrieked, struggling against the officers. "My life, you're ruining my life." Serena Hayes' chilling denial echoed in the Texas heat, leaving behind a torrent of outrage. How could anyone rationalize such depravity? And would Leo Maxwell, her unwitting partner, now become implicated in her monstrous deception? The truth, once hidden behind a meticulously crafted illusion, was now exposed. But understanding Serena Hayes' motives would prove as chilling as the crime itself. Detective Maya Patel sat opposite Serena Hayes in a cold interrogation room. Gone was the polished facade, the designer clothes. Here, Serena was just a woman, cornered, her eyes darting. Patel's voice, calm and steady, cut through the quiet. She laid out the stark facts: Owen's skeletal frame, Finn's regression, Ruby's silent despair. "Animals wouldn't be kept in such conditions, Miss Hayes. Your children were living in squalor." Serena's lips pressed into a thin line. Patel continued, "Owen marked their time on the wall, a tally for every day. 1,095 days. She presented evidence of desperate, unanswered calls from the apartment in the early months. "They called you, Miss Hayes, repeatedly, and you never picked up." Patel then dissected Serena's carefully constructed illusion. The automated rent payments were not concern, but a shield against official scrutiny. The meager food deliveries, barely enough to sustain life, were designed to avoid a murder charge, not to nurture. Serena's composure finally broke. Tears, hot and seemingly genuine, streamed down her face. "I just wanted to be happy," she sobbed, her voice raw with self-pity. "I never wanted to be a mother. I never asked for this." It was a confession, but one devoid of remorse for the children, only for her perceived burden. Meanwhile, in a separate interrogation room, Leo Maxwell sat, stunned. He expressed genuine shock, disbelief etched on his face. He'd known nothing. Serena had woven an elaborate web of lies, a storage unit where her children supposedly lived with a distant relative, late nights at work, that were in fact clandestine visits to a luxury spa, secretive phone calls that were not to family but to order more food deliveries. Leo, a man who valued precision and honesty, was another victim of her grand deception. The evidence mounted against Serena. Her social media accounts, now public, displayed a blessed life. Sun-drenched trips to the Bahamas, extravagant shopping sprees, gourmet dining experiences, all while Owen, Ruby, and Finn suffered. Bank records showed Nathan Price, the father of Owen and Ruby, had sent over $18,000 in child support, money Serena had meticulously funneled into her new, child-free existence. Falsified homeschooling reports, submitted regularly to the district, painted a picture of thriving, engaged children. Then, the final, most damning piece of evidence, a recorded phone call with a friend dating back 2 years into the abandonment. Serena's voice, light and carefree. "Girl, I am living my best life. No drama, no stress, no kids crying and asking for stuff. I finally found the life I was meant to live." The friend had asked a casual question about her children. Serena's response, delivered with chilling indifference, sliced through the room, cutting deeper than any lie. "What children? I don't have any children." That single sentence, uttered with such casual cruelty, sealed Serena Hayes' fate. It left the audience with a profound sense of horror, disbelief at the depths of her self-deception. What future awaited her now? And what about Owen, Ruby, and Finn, the children erased from their mother's mind? The truth, once hidden behind a meticulously crafted illusion, was now exposed. But understanding Serena Hayes' motives would prove as chilling as the crime itself. The trial of Serena Hayes was swift. The overwhelming evidence, Owen's tally marks, the chilling phone call, her social media posts, contrasting with the apartment's squalor, left no room for doubt. The judge's condemnation was severe, echoing the community's outrage. Serena Hayes was sentenced to a substantial prison term, 45 years, with no possibility of parole for 25. She offered no outward sign of regret, only a cold defiance. Owen, Ruby, and Finn, the children Serena had abandoned, began a new journey. They were placed with dedicated foster parents, Samuel and Jessica Grant. Their path to recovery would be long and arduous. Owen, the protector, struggled with guilt. Ruby, the silent observer, slowly began to find her voice. Finn, the youngest, required constant care, grappling with years of developmental delay. Their physical wounds healed, but the trauma of profound neglect, of being utterly alone for so long, would stay with them, a quiet presence in their lives. How could 3 children simply disappear in plain sight? How did we all let this happen? Serena Hayes had exploited every loophole. Schools, social services, even neighbors, the layers of oversight had all failed. She understood the system's gaps, manipulating them to ensure her new freedom. Her actions laid bare a fundamental flaw, the assumption that someone else is always watching. This story carries a profound lesson. Children can become unseen, hidden not by walls but by indifference, by assumptions, by a world too busy to look closely. It's a reminder that true vigilance requires more than laws. It requires human connection. Don't assume someone else is watching. Don't assume someone else will step in. Somewhere, right now, there might be a child, unseen, waiting for someone to notice they exist. Before it's too late, if this story moved you, if it sparked a recognition, then share it. Subscribe to 247 True Crime Chronicles for more accounts that push us to look deeper. And most importantly, pay attention to the children around you. because every single child deserves to be seen, to be safe, and to be loved.